So we'll remove that jig, put it to one side. The material that we've cut, we'll put that to one side. So what else can we do with jigs, aids and templates? Well, we've cut timber on an angle. What else can we do? Well, let's have a look at this particular jig. Now, this particular jig is slightly different than the last one that we've just looked at. The last one, the jig moved. You physically push the jig backwards and forwards. On this one, the jig stays put. The timber moves over it. Now, if we wanted to make something like a windowsill, we all realise that a windowsill has got a slope on it. So there's two ways you can do the slope. You can plane it off with a plane, or you can use a saw to cut a slope on it to start with, then finish it off on the plane. So it's easy for you to use. So what we'll do with this is we'll actually do an angle cut. But again, we must consider all the pure regulations that go with the machine. So first of all, we'll move the adjustable mouthpiece out of the way. And we can position this particular piece of guarding and tooling into the machine. I can now move the fence so that it is in line. You'll notice on the jig, I've got a dotted line. The dotted line represents the actual saw cut. So I can actually line it all up safely for me as the operator. So that's now in place. My timber is going to sit into the jig. And you can see the timber now doesn't sit flat on the bed, it's actually on an angle. So that's going to give me a sloped cut. Now you can see, can't get the timber underneath the adjustable mouthpiece. It's going to be very, very close to the crown guard. So what I will do is I'll adjust the crown guard up a little just to give me a little bit more working space. And because we're cutting thicker timber, we need to adjust the crown guard. So the crown guard now has been lifted up. The top of the crown guard still covers the roots of the saw tooth, so it's still safe for us to use. Now, by adjusting this guard now, it does raise some ethical questions as far as the guard is concerned. The pure regulations state that the guard must be set as close as practically possible. So if I use the finger test, I can't get my finger under the guard on this side, but on the other side, I can. Because the timber is on a slant, my guard is on the high spot, can't get it any closer than that. So safety is slightly compromised, but the regulations suggest that it's guarded as close as practically possible. I can't get it any better than that. So for the machining operation for this, we've got the jig in place, we've set the adjustable guard, we've set the crown guard, we've got our piece of timber, and again for the demonstration, we won't put the extractor on because it's too noisy, but I'll put my eyes and I'll put my ears on, and then we'll do the cut. So that's the cut being made. People often ask me the question, why isn't the jig longer? Why isn't the jig that long? The answer to that is quite simple. If the jig is too long, the timber's still being captive and held in the jig. If the fence corresponds being too long on the back, the timber is likely to get caught between the plate and the back of the jig, and if it's going to come out, it's going to come out. So short jig just for the cut. And you can see now, there's the angle cut that we've just made on the machine. If we wanted to, we could make two components. We could take the one that we've just created as waste, put it back into the machine and do a second cut. So we've got two components. If we were really clever, we would make a jig and centre it up accurately enough so we would get both components exactly the same size with one cut exactly down the centre. But you can see now we're pushing the envelope of the machine, so we could actually use these to make windowsills. That saves a lot of effort as far as the carpenter and joiner is concerned, because now all he's got to do is just take some whiskers off that with a smoothing plane, and he's got his section he needs for his window. Again, the push sticks are an issue. They must always be on the saw bench. They must always be safe. Use the push sticks, not your fingers.